If you want to put it into the metaphor of a dream, it's the universe dreaming itself into existence and remembering that we are both the dreamer and the dream.
I've come here for the great awakening. I've come here for this universe. I'm not alone, a galaxy of love.
Welcome to the Great Awakening podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Nikohl, a multidimensional artist on a mission to help raise the collective consciousness. In this podcast, we are going to be exploring all things spirituality, manifestation, plant medicines, and more on this journey of awakening to and remembering who and what we really are. So in this first episode, I just wanted to dive right into my personal spiritual awakening story and how I've got to where I am today and why I'm making this podcast. So just a little bit about me, if you don't know. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, and DJ, amongst many other things, because I am a manifesting generator in human design. So I'm definitely a multifaceted, multi-creative. So I'm making this podcast because I have had a lot of very profound spiritual experiences that I feel like I'm meant to share. I hope that by sharing my stories, it will help other people out there that are maybe going through a similar spiritual awakening journey. Real quick, I want to define what is spiritual awakening, quote unquote. Basically, the way that I see it is that we start as consciousness or God, and all of these things are one being, one consciousness. But then in order for God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, I think these are all different terms for the same concept. God or the universe wants to experience itself in all the different ways that it can. And so it fractalizes out into all these different parts and different forms, into humans, into trees, into everything in the universe is, I think, this God or consciousness, right? And the spiritual awakening process is just remembering that we are that consciousness or God, really. And the thing is, I think we have to forget, essentially, that we are God or the universe experiencing itself, because if we were born into this lifetime just knowing that, I don't think we'd really be able to have an actual human experience and to be quote unquote separate. And again, I don't think anything ever really is separate. It's just the illusion of separation. But the awakening or the ascension process then, I think, is this kind of continual process of remembering deeper and deeper that everything really is one and it's all love. And this is essentially, if you want to put it into the metaphor of a dream, it's the universe dreaming itself into existence and remembering that we are both the dreamer and the dream. And I think that the ascension or awakening process is kind of never ending, really, because I think that the universe could go on infinitely forever, learning different things about itself. And I think, again, in order to ascend, we had to first descend in our consciousness and become separate, quote unquote. And this term ascension that I use, I think, just kind of refers to that path of our consciousness becoming one with all that is again, basically. I actually grew up Christian, and I think I was Christian all the way up until maybe somewhere around high school, I started to kind of question things. I was like always that person in my confirmation class who was asking questions about like, why this, why that, because some of the things in the Bible just didn't make sense to me, such as like why in one of the books is there this Tower of Babel and God like smites the people, but then in the Newer Testament, it's all about God loves all his children, and it's just like, okay, well, which one is it? Is God this angry, fearsome being, or is it this all-loving being? And I think I also had this class around 7th grade, I want to say, where it was teaching us about the different world religions. And that was actually the first time that I even learned about that there was any other possibility besides Christianity. And learning about those possibilities just really started to blow my mind and make me realize, like, wow, maybe there's a lot more out there that I don't know and don't understand. Right. So around high school, I started becoming, I want to say, agnostic. Like, I still believed in a God or some higher power, but I knew that religion was just not it, because they had all of these rules and fear-mongering that just didn't resonate with me. And my first year of college was very profound. I went through a bit of an existential crisis, I want to say, around figuring out like what really is the meaning of life. Because that year I became more atheist. I can't really point to any particular experience that made me become atheist, other than maybe there was this like one class in college where it was called the Human Event at ASU, and we were diving into all of these old texts that were very philosophical in nature, and that class really helped to teach me that I can actually create my own meaning from my life. And at the time, I was totally happy being an atheist and creating my own meaning in that way. But then I moved to California to pursue music, and I think it was the first year after moving here that I had met some friends who were very into psychedelics. And I had never tried a psychedelic before. I was such a prick in high school growing up. I didn't even drink or smoke until I was like 18. But yeah, so I had started becoming a little more open-minded to the idea of plant medicines or psychedelics because I saw that there was research on mushrooms, and it showed that there weren't really any long-term effects. And so I was curious enough to try it. And my first ever mushroom trip was really the experience that I could point to that was my big spiritual awakening. Like, I think my entire life journey up until this point has been a journey of awakening overall. But that was a moment where it was like being smacked in the face with reality and with truth. So I did about 3.5 grams because our friends thought you needed like the full dose your first time. And disclaimer, I don't necessarily think that's true. I mean, obviously it was meant to happen for me in my experience, and it went well ultimately, but yeah, I don't think you necessarily need to do that much your first time. But anyway, I remember walking down to the beach. We went to the beach in Malibu. And as I was coming up, we were still trying to find like a place to sit down. And the first spot that we found, the waves were getting really close to us. And I started getting all this anxiety about just like I felt very ungrounded and kind of a bit scared and unsure of what was going to happen, you know? But we found a different spot, and I, again, was feeling a little bit of anxiety at the beginning, and my friend told me to drink some water, and I did, and then I was kind of telling myself internally, like, okay, just relax into it. Whatever happens is going to happen. Just allow it. And I intuitively did that. You are actually supposed to, as they say, release, relax, allow, and surrender, because the more that your ego resists the experience, the more you're going to suffer and the harder of a time that you're going to have. So somehow intuitively, I did this. And as soon as I made that internal decision, the anxiety was gone, and I was just the biggest giggle monster, like laughing my ass off. I was looking at my partner's face, and your vision becomes so super HD that I was just seeing like all the pores in his face, and it was like just so funny. Everything was so funny. And that's one thing I love about psychedelics, is that it reminds you of the cosmic joke of just to not really take anything that seriously. But anyway, for most of the entire trip, I laid my head down on my towel and I proceeded to have a complete out-of-body experience. So it felt at first like time started to collapse in on itself. And it's so hard to describe some of these things, like to put these otherworldly experiences into human language is very difficult, but I will do my best. So time collapsed in on itself so that it was like I became outside of time and space. I was just in the pure, infinite now. And I was no longer really experiencing myself as like Lauren. I feel like I was my like consciousness or my soul or whatever you want to call that. And yeah, once I entered the infinite now, it felt like I was being taken on this journey, being shown by the universe how reality really worked. I was like being shown the multiverse, and there was a point where I reached unity consciousness. And again, it's so hard to describe exactly what this was like, but it's like I merged with all that is and remembered, like, oh yeah, like I'm God, the trees are God, the fish are God. Literally everything is this connected field of energy. And it's me. And I have a soul, or whatever you want to call that again, but I exist beyond the human that I am. And there was another part of the experience where I felt like I was in this dimension, if you will, because it was like I was on the beach that I was on, but just a different frequency or dimension of that same place. And it felt very much like what Christians describe as heaven, because it felt like a very loving frequency. It felt very nostalgic, like I was remembering, oh yeah, I've been here before many times. Like it felt like the place that our souls go in between lives, to like figure out like, oh, did we learn our lessons and then figure out where we want to go next kind of thing. Like genuinely, it felt realer than anything in this reality that I've ever experienced. So it really was like awakening from the dream into the dreamer that was my soul or God or whatnot. And I remember in that place or dimension seeing my dad and my sister there. Or I guess you could say it was their souls, because again, they weren't like physically there. But I remember seeing them, or at least knowing that it was them. And remembering, oh yeah, I've been here with them many times before. And like, I got this feeling that I needed to remind them that we've been in this place before together. And that experience kind of makes me think that we incarnate with soul families or soul clusters, so that you reincarnate with these same soul groups many times to learn different lessons. And, you know, maybe in one lifetime, like you're going to be the daughter, and in one lifetime, you'll be the mom or what have you. And toward the end of the experience, I was in what I will call the void. And I've heard many other people describe what they will call the void as well. Basically just infinite darkness and nothingness. But I heard a few voices that were very gently telling me, stay, stay. And it felt intuitively like I knew that I could choose whether or not I wanted to stay in this reality or quote unquote die and go experience a different one. Which brings me to another point of I now don't think death really is real, I guess. It is like in a sense of like a transition, but yeah, like death is never the end. Like our souls are truly infinite, and we only really experience a change of energy or a transmutation of form and shape and energy. So I do sometimes wonder if I now am even a walk-in soul from that day forward, or if that was maybe perhaps parts of my soul reintegrating into my human self, because I felt like a totally different person from that day forward, just completely changed for the better. And as I was waking up out of that experience, I had kind of remembered my soul's purpose in this lifetime. And I was just bawling tears of joy, looking around at the beach as if I was seeing life again for the very first time. And I was just thinking, life is so beautiful. Like, it really was, as they say, an ego death, because it felt like the old me died, quote unquote. And I was like reborn and seeing things as if through the eyes of a baby. And I remember my partner asking me, like, do you need to use the bathroom? And I was kind of confused at first, like, oh yeah, like, I guess I do. Like, I didn't even know, like, remember, like, what that was or, like, how to be a human at first. It was crazy. He, like, had to help me, like, go to the bathroom. But, yeah, that experience kind of just led me on this whole journey of being so intrigued and passionate about psychedelics and all things spirituality and manifestation, and I really just want to share everything that I've experienced and learned, because it's been quite the profound journey. And again, spiritual awakening is not just like one experience that you have and then you're like enlightened, you know? I mean, I definitely kind of thought so after that first experience for a while, I will admit. And I also kind of assumed, like, oh, since I had that experience, everybody must have that experience when they try mushrooms for the first time. But that's definitely not the case. I think, first of all of our awakening / ascension journeys are all going to be very different, because the universe wants to experience every different possibility that it can imagine. So we're all on these like different paths, but walking home to the same destination, which is that oneness and love and source consciousness. And since that experience, I have had many other what I will deem awakening experiences, or just experiences that have deepened my understanding of this awakening. And I don't really know if the journey ever truly ends. I mean, I think our experience of reality is infinite and constantly shifting and changing, and it's really beautiful to experience all of it, the good things and the bad. So I actually wrote my song Raining Gold partially about this ego death experience that I had. The opening lines are, "As I work my way through the stubborn gates towards a palace of dreams and mystery, I lose all control as I let my soul rise to unchained realms of truth and reality." And that's really what it was like on mushrooms. Like I was trying to break through the stubborn gates of the ego, really is what it is, and get to that place of unchained truth and reality. And I would like to play that song for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast. I'm really excited to continue sharing more of my stories. If you have any questions for me, please hit me up on social media and I would love to try to answer them. See you next time, and here is my song, Raining Gold.
It's raining.